Good morning. I'm excited to be before you. I'm excited to be before you this morning. One of my first preaching assignments was here. Yeah, that's right. He knew me before I was even a minister, and I was just a member, hanging out with our pastor, Bishop Broadus.
Amen. That's right.
So many years ago, huh? Yeah. So many things change, but yet things don't change. May we all please stand for the reading of the word. Amen. We'll be coming from Jonah 4, 6, 7, and 8. I'll be reading from the New King James Version. Jonah 4, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah. Exciting. Really quickly, why do we stand for the word? Why? What was the point? It is a respect. If the president were to walk in, right? Not my president, no. If the president were to walk in, we would all quickly what? Well, this is the King of Kings. And we're reading what he so graciously gave us. So that's why we stand. We all have it. Let's go. Jonah 4, 6 reads, "And the Lord prepared a plant and made it come up over Jonah, that it might be shade for his head to deliver him from his misery. So Jonah was very grateful for the plant." 7. But as morning dawned, the next day God prepared a worm, and it so damaged the plant that it withered. 8. And it happened, when the sun arose, that God prepared a vehement east wind, and the sun beat on Jonah's head, so that he grew faint. Then he wished death for himself, and said, "It is better for me to die than to live." We may be seated. We will be focusing, thank you, we're actually focusing on Jonah's relationship to the plants. And the title of this passage is actually, or the title of this sermon is going to be, "When it's time to move, it's time to move." When it's time to move, it is time to what? To move. In this great momentous day, a pastor's anniversary is a big deal, by the way. Why? Why is it a big deal? It's a big deal because not every man is called to pastor. I was telling my wife not too long ago that to be a pastor takes 2 requirements. 1, to be called, and 2, to have the ability. Some people are called, but they don't have the what? Ability. Some people call themselves because they have the ability, but they don't have what? The call. Both of those will equal what? Failure. So when you have a pastor's anniversary that's longer than 1 year, that means what? He's been doing something. You know what I'm talking about? That means he's been doing something right. That means we might have what? Both the ability and what? So let's talk about a minister. Let's look at one. We look at Jonah as a failed minister, right? Because he was all mad and angry. In Jonah 1:1, he didn't do what God called him to do. Then he did what God called him to do, and he was angry about it. I'll suggest to you that Jonah was a successful minister. Wait, what? You mean the weeping prophet? You mean the man that didn't do what God told him to do originally? You're telling me that man is a successful minister? Yeah, he was successful. Wow. We have to dissect, before we get to this, we have to dissect what God was asking Jonah to do in order to understand the great strain that was on Jonah at that time. Jonah was a prophet before we get to Jonah 1:1. Jonah was known to walk into cities.
Yeah.
And you were happy because you had a true prophet, but you may have been sad because he was known to bring great doom.
That's right.
So he would say something and you would be like, oh no. So you were happy because you got a prophet of God, but you were sad because you didn't really know what he was about to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jonah may not have actually been his name, but more like a nickname, meaning it was what he was about. It was like a title that was given to him, because Jonah in the original text really means the cooing of a dove, like the sad cooing of a dove. So Jonah was already known as a powerful prophet.
Yeah.
But then God comes to Jonah and says, go to Nineveh, that great city, and what? Prophesy against them, for what? Their sins have rose up. Then who is Nineveh? Nineveh hated Israel. It was the capital of the city of the people that defeated his grouping of people. They defeated Israel.
Yeah.
At the time, Israel was captive, held captive by Nineveh. And Nineveh was the capital of those people. So Nineveh was benefiting from the slavery which his people. So now, in that context, Jonah, loving his people, was of a generation that would have seen Nineveh conquer them. And when I say conquer, I mean back in the day. It's not like today. And war like today is pretty bad, right? Because you've got bombs and stuff, right? But back in the day, it was a sword.
Yeah.
And it was a shield.
Yeah.
And it was some arrows.
Yeah.
So you were eye to eye with your enemy.
Yeah.
You were face to face with your enemy. That's you burning my house down, see? That's you doing things to my wife. War was more personal then.
Yeah. Talk.
So Jonah was of an age that would have seen these people destroying his nation, which he loved very much.
Yeah.
Now, if you saw that and you were Jonah, would you want to go and help them?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
You want them to get every single punishment they can get.
That's more.
You burned down my house. I want to see your house get burned down. You stole my stuff, so I want to see your stuff get stolen.
Oh.
So when God comes to Jonah, he gives him an impossible task. He gives him a task that he knows Jonah doesn't want to do. But watch this. He's the only man that can do it.
Talk. Listen.
It's an impossible task for an impossible man.
Yeah.
That has the name Jonah. That means a person is going to come and give you sadness.
Man.
So he says, Jonah, go to the city you hate the most and talk to the people you hate the most and bring them God which you love the most.
Yes, sir.
And Jonah doesn't do it. See, we judge Jonah hard, right? Jonah, he's a failed prophet. No. Because Jonah gets slapped around, goes on a boat, right? Gets swallowed by a whale.
Yeah.
Thinks he's going to die.
Yeah.
Comes out of the whale.
Yeah.
And goes right back to where he started.
Yeah.
And then This is my favorite part. This is my favorite part, Pastor. God, after he spits him out of the well, says exactly what he says in Jonah 1:1. And Jonah's like, all right. But watch what he says. He says, I know you are a gracious God.
Yes, sir.
I know you are a loving God. I know you're going to save these people.
Yes.
And he don't want them saved.
You don't want to.
But what does Jonah do? He goes to the great city. And he does what Jonah does best, man.
Yeah.
He prophesies doom and destruction.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jonah wasn't nice about it. I'm sure Jonah wasn't all smiley faces about it. I'm sure that he wasn't sugarcoating anything. I'm sure he was walking through that city saying, you're going to die. You're going to die. That house is going to burn. That house is going to burn. All that's going to be mine. All that. You right there, you smiling, you're going to die. He was so bad that the king, the guy that's over in Nineveh hears about it. And he goes, Jonah said, what? Oh, we got to change this up.
Yes, sir.
Because if Jonah's saying it and Jonah hates us, then what? It's going to happen. Yeah. Jonah saved the great city.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Jonah saved the great city. One man sent by God saved what? How many people are waiting on us? How many people are waiting on us? But because of our own stuff. How many people are waiting on us to bring them Jesus? But because of our own stuff, we don't go. How many people are just waiting for the invitation to come to church with you? But because of our own stuff, we don't invite them. Those people aren't worthy. Because of all the stuff they did, they're not worthy of Jesus. Because of all the stuff they did to me, they're not what? Worthy.
Jesus.
How dare you say that? None of us are worthy.
That's right.
I said none, not you.
None.
That means I'm what? I ain't worthy.
That's right.
It is only by the grace of God that we are saved. So yet again I ask, how many people are waiting on us? Because we can deliver the message the way that only you can.
Yeah.
To touch that one person in a way that they need to be touched in that moment. But we are not doing it. Why? It's not on them then. It's not on them. It's on who? But you're going to do it though. Wait. What did you say? No. Sweetie, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. The question is not, are you going to do it? This is what Jonah found out, see? The question is not, are you going to do it? The question is, how much pain are you going to have to feel in order to do what God has asked you? I had an uncle that I hadn't talked to for years.
Yeah, fix it.
I feel like it was his fault, not mine. Isn't that how it is? It's not my fault. It's his fault.
Yeah.
He was never nice to me. My whole childhood, I think he hated me. I didn't talk to him for years. My mom calls me up one day and says, Aaron, you need to fix it.
Yeah.
I ain't fixing it with him. I ain't fixing it with him. He needs to call me and what? Apologize. Until he apologizes, I'm not fixing nothing. I was waiting for an apology that still hasn't come. That will never come. But guess what? How can I do ministry and tell people to forgive every day? And I can't even forgive my uncle. How can I be a Christian and say God has forgiven me and I can't forgive my uncle? Because I'm waiting for what? An apology. Like a child. Like a kindergartner. He hurt my feelings and I'm waiting for an apology. So I called him up. Because I was convicted, see? And we didn't even talk about it. We didn't even talk about it. We had dinner over his house. My kids got to see his kids. Had a good time. The man didn't change. He was still not a nice man. He didn't like, this ain't that type of story, man. He didn't change too much, right? But who changed? You did. Now, I'm not saying we friends. I'm not saying we hanging out on Saturday. I haven't seen that man since. But we fixed it. Because God gave grace to me.
Yes, sir.
I can give grace. Now we're ready for Jonah 4. Oh, you thought I was done? Now we're ready for Jonah 4. Now we're ready because we have the right context. Jonah's sitting up on the hill. Jonah himself has done a great work. Jonah himself has brought to the people the right message at the right time. And God is saving Nineveh down below. And Jonah is sitting up on a hill and he is angry. Why? Because his fierce enemy is now being saved. And he is angry to the point of what? Death. He wants to kill himself, man. And God gives him a big hug and puts a plant. And Jonah's so happy for the plant. And the rains come and the plant protects him all night. And he gets to sleep in peace. But nah, man, that's not the end of the story.
Yes, sir.
I wish it had ended there. That's a nice ending, right? That's the ending that I want, see? That's the storybook ending. That's why I love the Bible, because the Bible will tell you all about yourself through him. See, that's the ending that we want. We want the tree ending. And we're sleeping under the tree, and everything is peaceful, and I hate that sound, by the way. And then in the morning, a worm comes, sent by God, to destroy the plant.
Yes, sir.
And Jonah wakes up and he goes, where's the plant?
Amen.
You sent it, but now it's gone. And then, because Jonah's now sitting there crying over this plant, God's like, nah, sweetie, it's time to what? Time to move. Jonah ain't moving. Because now he's angry at them. He's angry at the plant. He's angry at himself. He wants to die. So God starts to do what? Send a wind. Send a storm. God starts to... Have you ever... When I was a kid, I was little. I like when there was a big storm and there was a big wind. You ever done it? You just lean back and you feel the wind just kind of push you. Have you ever done that? It's like, I can't do it now, I'm too big, right? Or at least I hope not, because that'd be like a tornado or something. But when I was little, have you ever leaned back and just felt that wind? I imagine it's like that. I imagine that wind is coming and pushing Jonah along. Because you can't stay there. You can't stay in a place of pain and hurt. You can't stay in a place of anger. You have to figure it out for yourself. God will give you a boost.
Yeah.
He'll put a tree for a little bit of time, but that's just a Band-Aid to get you through the storm. But eventually, you've got to what?
Move.
You've got to move.
Yes, sir.
If God had put that tree there and did not let it die, he would be there to this day talking about the tree is great.
Yeah.
The tree ain't great. The tree was just there for a little bit of time to get you through a rough period. But now you've got to face the facts.
Yes, sir.
And the facts is, these people are saved and you are still angry. So now you've got to stop looking at those people.
Yeah.
And you've got to what? When it's time to go, baby.
Yes, sir.
It's time to go.
Yeah.
When he calls you to a place, you got to go. And when he calls you out of that place, you got to go. And both are equal.
Yeah.
There's some places I can't go. There's some places you can't go because you're not strong enough to go. A lot of people, that's where they fail.
Yeah.
They've been smoking crack for 20 years. They get clean for a year. And then they're like, now I've been clean. I want to do what? Go back. You ain't strong enough to go back, sweetie.
No. You go back.
Some people are. But most people just need to live your life, baby. He saved you for you. Go get a family. Go join the church. Get out of that.
Yeah. That's the word. Yes, Lord.
Because Jonah could not stay on that hill forever. And it ends not with God saying anything happy to Jonah. God doesn't apologize. God doesn't say, I'm sorry for saving him. He says, I loved you, and I sent you a tree. You didn't tend the tree.
Yeah.
You didn't plant the tree. You did nothing for the tree.
Nothing.
But God made Nineveh.
Yeah.
And every person in Nineveh.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't God love Nineveh?
Yeah.
And it doesn't give Jonah a chance to answer. It ends like that. So we never know if Jonah found peace with it. I like to think it ends like that because he doesn't. He might have went to his grave angry about that. But guess what? That's okay too. We don't know why God does things. Some of us are angry with God that happened a while ago. It's okay. Because we don't know why God does or chooses to save who he chooses to save, chooses to do what he chooses to do. But I tell you this, it's all for our what? Good. So I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with this. Because my time is dwindling. And I can talk for hours and hours. Look at the places in your life. Look at the Ninevehs in your life. We all have one. Look at the people that represent Nineveh in our life. Because we all have it. We all have that person that when they call you, look at the phone, you go, oh God, here it comes. And then sometimes you just click no. These are the people that only we can what? Save. Minister to, because God saves. But only we can go, and they are waiting on us. But after that, it's time to what? Thank you.